My name is Calvin Tillman. I'm the mayor of a small town of Dish, Texas. Dish is located about 25 miles directly north of downtown Fort Worth, just north of Texas Motor Speedway. And we're the home to everything that you could possibly imagine in the natural gas industry. We have a number of wells, we have a number of pipelines, we have a number of compressors, and we have our very first injection well coming into the area very soon.
As a mayor, you're also a father, right? You have kids that live in Dish?
Yes, I have two boys, and both of my children, their ages are 5 and 7, and they are growing up in this area where we've had high levels of benzene, high levels of neurotoxins. Most of the chemicals that we call neurotoxins affect development in children, and so I believe that's affected my children and probably some of the other children in the area, but it's very concerning for me as a father. And most people ask, well, why on earth would you do this? Because I don't get compensated at all. I don't get compensated at all for this, and this right here is the reason that I do this. You know, my children are counting on this. We've thought about moving, and we've had opportunities to do that, and we've chose to stay here and try and make this as clean as we can, and it's going to get cleaned up.
What would you say to people say, well, this is just for publicity for Dish?
I would say come out and look at what we have, and come out and look at the stuff that we've done. You know, if we kept going down the path that we were going, everybody's property values would have been destroyed. Everybody's property rights would have been destroyed. And eventually, we would have had the empirical evidence that everybody's looking for, which is the leukemia and the massive birth defects and things like that. And not on my watch. It will not happen on my watch.
Can you give us like maybe 1 or 2 things for our community to do to stand up for these gas companies that are coming to the neighborhood? What would we need to do as a group of people?
You know, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that there's some of this stuff that you could put in your lease agreements to make them put this in. And when I say put this in, I mean put green technology into their drilling, into their compression, into the whole gas production process. There is 95% of these emissions can be cut out completely if they will just do that. And so maybe you could write that into your lease. Maybe that wouldn't work. I don't know. Your local governments can do this stuff, I believe, and the town of Dish is going to lead the way. We're going to lead the way in this fight, and hopefully we can come up with something that some of the other cities can adopt and make this much better for everybody else. You know, I'm not anti-drilling. I'm not anti-industry, but I do believe that there is places where it shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be running a pipeline through somebody's front yard. And so we have to do this responsibly and respectfully, and we can do it a whole lot better than what we're doing it.
How far are you willing to go to see this? When you have a positive response to this, that they would stop drilling or stop putting pipes in some people's yards? How far are you willing to go?
I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep at this until I know that when my children go to bed at night, that they're going to be breathing clean air. And I'm not going to quit until I know your children are going to bed tonight breathing clean air. And so it's a much broader issue than Dish, and I've gotten outside of the borders of Dish, and so I'm not going to quit until I know that that the air here is clean. But one of the reasons is, let's say I clean up Dish. You've got how many wells here in Fort Worth? 1,600 wells. You know, there's thousands of wells in the Barnett Shale. If we do not do something, the ambient air, the average air in this area is going to be unhealthy and borderline toxic. And it's not just going to be a small area that has a leukemia cluster. It's going to be a large area. It's going to be a large area with birth defects if we don't do something. And it's simple that we can do these things if we just mandate it. These companies do this stuff in other states.
What would you tell the government officials here in Fort Worth if you were looking straight into the camera and tell them, what would be your advice to them, like the Fort Worth officials here in Fort Worth?
They need to stop the drilling until they can figure everything out. We should have stopped it in the beginning We should not have allowed it until we knew all of these things, but we have to stop it now, and we have to figure out how we can do this respectfully and responsibly. We have to find the balance between drilling and people living in their homes. The effect screening levels were set on the average male my age who works 8 hours a day. Nobody's ever thought, well, geez, why would it be set on that person? The reason that it would be set on that person is because you're not supposed to be subject to this in your homes. And so we need to figure this stuff out, and any level of benzene that's above the ambient for the world, for the nation, is too much. And we've got to stop it, or it's just you're going to have the empirical evidence. You're going to have children that are affected, you're going to have families that are affected, you're going to have people dying, you're going to have people sick. It's going to happen if we don't stop it now.
Thank you so much for standing up for the rights of the people in your community, and the people in Dix are so proud of you. We thank you so much for Carter Street News and the kids that you brought out, and you protected them. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you.